You asked for it, and we've got it. Get ready for the Clash Royale League. Today's action features the last unbeaten team in North America, top-ranked Complexity Gaming, led by Raza and the resurgent Adrian Piedra. Across the bridge, Guanek, Hazard, and an NRG team ready for battle. Let's get right to it.
Hello and welcome to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slate and joining me is Paul in Tokyo to bring you more action in the North American region.
We've had so many amazing matches in the North American region, but we're not going anywhere. With so many amazing organizations like this in the region, I would expect nothing less.
All of those teams competing for one of the top 4 spots in the league that will lead them to the playoffs. The winner of those playoffs will represent the region in the World Finals.
And of course, you can catch all the action right here on the Clash Royale League Esports YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because, you know, when we have amazing matchups like NRG and Complexity, you should absolutely hit subscribe.
Today, those teams going head-to-head. Complexity, of course, undefeated, up against NRG, looking to add a second win to their record.
But let's talk about these rosters because, of course, Complexity, they have had so much success already in the Clash Royale League. I mean, Razer's gone on his sprees, but Adrian Piedra coming clutch in the last one as well, and then Colton as well. You have to talk about these guys. Over on the other side, though, NRG, they've been showing some amazing skills as well.
Hazard, Carter, Guanek, and PP, all with great performances. Guanek, of course, we've seen him shine in 1v1, but one of our 2v2 masters right now is standing by with Christy St. John as she's with NRG's Carter.
Thanks, guys. Carter, you have 1 win, 1 loss under your belt. How do you come back from both so you can win today?
I mean, of course, winning felt great. Losing sucked, but it's just made us more determined to bounce back and, you know, prepare more for this game. So I'm feeling pretty ready, and, you know, we'll see how it goes.
I hope so. Of course, your opponents have not yet lost a 2v2 matchup. How do you plan to defeat them?
Well, I don't want to give away too much, but we have some good decks, and we're prepared for this exact ban. So I think that we can be the ones to do it for sure.
I think so too. All right, I'm excited. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. These two talented teams will go head-to-head in just a couple of minutes. But first, Paul, tell us about our league format.
Oh, yeah, I got to talk about this format here. We start off with our 2v2, which is quickly becoming, I think, a fan favorite here. After that, we go into our 1v1s, and then if we need it, our King of the Hill tiebreaker format. Each of these sets has their own unique bans, which reset every single time. And these bans, they play a huge factor. And I love the fact that, you know, we're seeing these different adaptations for 2v2, different adaptations for 1v1, and of course, we get to hear the teams discuss this.
And we can find out more about that when we go inside the war room.
Let's go to work, fellas. Whole town. Let's go. All right, boys. Look alive, look alive. This is the game that we hit our stride, all right? This is the game that we hit our stride. We all have a second gear that we can switch into, man. You know what I'm talking about. Live there today, man. What do we got for 2v2? What are our bans?
We have Tornado and Lava.
Tornado and Lava doesn't change what our game plan is, which is good. So let's go out there and just execute what we want to execute on, all right? 1v1 bans. Inferno, Dragon, and Golem, right? Again, like right where we want to be. So trust your instincts, trust your gut, and just bring the Pelon today, man. Bring it. And we'll wrap this up, right? But do not take this team lightly. NRG's immensely talented. You guys all know that, okay? So let's hit our stride, right? We haven't even shown what we're fully capable of, so let's do it in this game, all right? Let's bring it in, guys. 1, 2, 3, Complexity!
We pretty much predicted what Adrian was going to play, I think.
I mean,
good match.
We'll see what he actually goes with. And
yeah.
For 2-2, the same thing. I think we got them all out with the Lava on man. But, you know, we'll see how it works out.
You guys practice this band, so I think we should be good.
Yeah, we did. We got this, baby. Yeah, baby.
Keep communicating. Don't overspend.
Yeah, yeah.
Should be all right.
Both teams have told their secrets in back rooms. Now, they'll yell their battle cry in the arena. Complexity and NRG, release your 2v2 teams into battle!
The lineups are set, and no surprise here for Complexity. Razer and Colton across from NRG's Hazard and Carter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Razor and Colton together again, undefeated in 2v2. They're not changing anything up for very good reason here. Going up against Carter and Hazard over on the side of NRG. These guys have also had their shares of successes as well. This is going to be an epic matchup. A lot of young guns out here ready to prove something.
The card bans today, Lava Hound and Tornado off the board for all of 2v2.
Lava Hound and Tornado. These are fun bans. I like seeing the Lava Hound ban here in 2v2 as well. I'm going to be expecting to see probably a lot more Golem play coming out, probably some Giant Skeleton as well, maybe a little Royal Giant here or there. But we could also see some faster cycle decks. We saw a Mortar Bait deck in 2v2 the other day that maybe happy.
That was pretty fun. With Tornado off, of course, that does create some big openings for those big, heavy decks as well. So we'll find out in just a couple of seconds. What's it going to be? Will Complexity get off right on their foot today and move one step closer to being 4-0? Or will NRG add a third win to their column?
We're going to find out as we get into game number 1 here. Complexity, NRG. Let's do it.
Let's go, boys.
And we are off in the first set today. You know, also, we could see some hog play. We have seen a lot of split hogs in 2v2. So with that Tornado off the board, a little bit less ability to activate the King Tower, maybe that'll make an appearance.
Oh, that's actually a super solid point, because we look at this here. I mean, we talk about the high risk, high reward. We talk about how easy it is to activate this double King Tower with, we talk about miners, we talk about hog riders, we talk about Royal Hogs themselves. We've seen all of those with activations here. So we'll see what teams opt to do starting things off. We do see the Night Witch coming down, so wouldn't be surprised to see a Golem coming out with that here. But we're already seeing some Royal Hog counters coming in. We see the Valkyrie in the back, but now, I guess I should say, in the front, making its way all the way to the tower.
And slow starts for both teams, just a little bit of skirmish play at the front board, and there are the split hogs. And without those tornadoes, much more difficult to find a way. You can activate a King Tower, but with those hogs, I don't think they'll get in close enough position for a fireball or something similar to make that happen.
Oh, I love this play. Baiting out the responses, the Valkyrie, the Lumberjack, and then getting the second round of hogs down, forcing another response, consistently chipping through. Really nice play there. The Cannon Cart will help to clean that up, but still, this is an aggressive opening from NRG.
Complexity, of course, undefeated in 2v2, undefeated in CRL overall. Colton and Razor playing so well together. Of course, Razor somewhat unheralded, even though a very talented tournament player. Colton well known as one of the best Elixir counters in the game.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen that video on Elixir counting, looking to improve your gameplay in Clash Royale, I would definitely recommend giving that a watch, as we do see the stereotypical beat-down push coming through the left-hand side, Night Witch pushing that Golem along, and then we have the Giant Skeleton and P.E.K.K.A. to counter for NRG.
I love seeing that balloon sneak all the way through. It looks like it might. Yes, it does get the first hit. And that was brilliant. You know, you had the Golem there soaking up so much, and then a little bit of rage helping that balloon sneak through onto the tower.
But now we have nothing sneaky about this push from NRG. They are charging all the way through to the tower. Beautiful pull there in the mid, getting the Giant Skeleton Bomb off of the tower. But still, we might see a connection. No, beautiful stop there with that Lumberjack, denying the P.E.K.K.A. hit on the tower.
So on one hand, you think NRG might have matchup here with P.E.K.K.A. and the Giant Skeleton to eat up that Golem. But on the other hand, they don't really have a lot of answers for that balloon at the moment. You know, they can distract it using a combination of their tombstones and zaps to slow it down, but not really anything to totally take it out of contention.
We'll see how Complexity opts to use that here instead. They're looking to sort of, again, keep it going with this push here, use the Golem as that distraction, have the Night Witch there as well, and then they might opt to drop the balloon there. Yes, once again on the side. So we'll see how they address the balloon is truly the threat here, and instantly taking it down. I love this response from NRG.
Fireball, Poison, and the Mega Minion. The Mega Minion getting in its way, and then the spell damage taking it down. And now yet another set of Royal Hogs cycling through for NRG's Hazard and Carter, but decently cleaned up by that log and the down cannon card.
A few hits are still going to go through, but in this war of attrition, NRG are prevailing, getting that damage through. This is a tough situation right now for Complexity to handle. NRG is looking so solid. They're distracting with those tombstones, but still, the Royal Hogs are always a threat.
Brilliant play on the left-hand side there against that cannon cart, using the log to push it back, and a perfectly timed tombstone to get in its way, keep it off that left-hand tower. We are in sudden death overtime, and right now, NRG holding the game in their hands, having great answers for all of Complexity's offensive pushes.
Every single time Complexity has tried to mount one of these solid, consistent beatdown showdown pushes. It's just been answered beautifully. We have still seen some damage connecting through onto that left-hand tower, but if you look at the damage split between the two towers of Complexity, it is absolutely incredible. We are seeing the Rage being dropped now here once again. We might see another connection with that balloon, but no, the distraction with the Tombstone once again.
And bring it with the Tombstone. The big question is, will that cannon cart fall and also keep the balloon? Not necessary. You have the Zappies doing their job. But look, now down to 664, even though you have more damage on the side of Colton Razor. Oh, well, now with these double Royal Hog push, it looks like this might be it. And here we go. The right-hand tower is down. NRG's Hazard and Carter taking the first game so far in CRL off of Complexity in 2v2.
Complexity dropping their first 2v2 matchup here. What stellar play from Carter and Hazard. Every single time Colton and Razor tried to make a play, make a push, they committed so much elixir to that, and then having just those fast responses on the other side were Carter and Hazard. It really just came down to, at the end, how do you deal with all that pork?
That's a lot of pork, a lot of al pastor for those of you in the Southern California region. And you can see a lot of spell elixir spent, but not a lot of buildings for Complexity. And that might have been, we have seen some success with distracting, bringing the Royal Hogs into the middle using a building and then big spelling them down or using some other sort of area of effect damage on them. Didn't have that here. Just a little bit too fast was NRG. They take the first game and are now one game away from taking the first 2v2 set ever off of Colton and Razor.
They had I think a strong favorable deck matchup there, just having that slightly faster cycle going in with those Hogs and having that Tombstone to distract. We'll see how they do in game number 2. Are they going to switch it up, or are we going to see more of the same?
The players conferring right now, trying to decide what they want to use as they move into this second very crucial game. It's a position that Colton and Razor haven't been in yet, playing from behind.
Playing from behind, of course, it takes a lot of, it takes a lot of composure to be in the situation and say, look, we still have this. We're still champions. We still know what we're all about. We're still undefeated overall in 2v2. But now we are seeing a slight shift in strategy from Hazard and Carter.
And we see golems in the back, a slight delay of the golem getting caught up on the right-hand side of Complexity. And for NRG, the golem with the giant skeleton in the lead.
Giant skeleton, of course, going to be taking a lot of that initial damage and helping to stymie the push there. Look at this. We're having a traffic jam on the bridge here. It feels like LA traffic every morning as they are crossing that bridge. And the giant skeleton to be chasing it back beautifully, basically negating a lot of the damage there from the bomb. Actually finding its way all the way to the tower, though. That bomb then will be somewhat effective.
Important note here. Remember, we do not have Tornado or Lava Hound in this 2v2 set. And right there, you saw how important Tornado could be. So many big
balloon.
The balloon all the way to the tower. And again, just as I'm talking about how important Tornado is, because we saw the golems reach tower, now we see balloon reach tower, and it's Colton and Razor in the lead, taking this game by storm here in the second game of 2v2.
Taking a lot of damage on that right-hand tower as their own golem pushed through, opting to just instead build up that defense, not overcommit to that initial push, instead catch the offense of NRG and throw it right back at them, not having a lot of good answers in terms of that balloon. We're seeing it here once again. Really just no good response from NRG.
Complexity can now dedicate all their elixir to defense if they want. You know, throwing that golem out from the back, yes, it will create offensive pushes and force a response from NRG, but it will also soak up some of the offensive pushes from Carter and Hazard.
They really need to be doing that here because they cannot allow NRG to get back in this game. I mean, Complexity looking so solid to start this off. The golem is going to reach the tower, though. Both golems will connect here. This is absolutely huge. The 2 death damage. Actually, I think they're going to trade towers here as well. So Complexity needs to focus on this tower on the left-hand side here as well.
We are in double elixir time, and it is Complexity roaring out to the lead. The balloon looks like it might get a drop on there. No, the fireball just a little late in support, but still the damage is done. And now an E-Wiz taking 2 big hits. The left-hand tower down to 836.
What a very close matchup right now. A few hits from the miner will secure this last tower, which means it all comes down to this left-hand lane where Complexity has a quite significant lead. Both teams mounting pushes with their golems. They're going to clash here on the side of NRG.
Now you look at this again, and so you see the fireball, making sure it gets on the tower. We are now only 3 fireballs and a zap away from taking that left-hand tower down, or, of course, a log can do the same job. So now, inside of 3 fireball range, Complexity can just play defense, get those spells in the back on the board, and take that tower down. Really, it looks like they, as we are into sudden death overtime, looks like they are in control.
They are certainly in a good position right now, keeping that giant skeleton back, keeping the bomb on the bridge, but still pushing in now is NRG. Going to get a few hits here onto this tower. No, beautiful positioning on that Valkyrie there as well, but the miner in the back will continue to chip away and forced to use the fireball defensively there, which means they don't have it for this next defensive push. They instead, not opting to cycle it down with simply spells. They're going to try and get some troops in there, and there's the balloon.
Now they're sliding the balloon through. You know, it's an interesting play. I think it might be a little bit aggressive there. You know, they do. I think they have the ability to play defense, but again, down at 718, maybe they are seeing something in their cycle that they want to get that balloon out on the board.
Yeah, opting to use 2 fireballs, not even feeling they need to put it on the tower there. They know they are in full control of this game, zapping it for good measure, feeling really good. There it is.
You know, getting that balloon out there, they did get the death damage, and so it's almost acting like another spell in that context, getting it all the way through. Again, a slightly risky play where they almost got the balloon stopped before it reached the tower, but it makes it there, and Complexity now gets this thing tied up 1-1. And here we look at the replay. This is what set the whole thing off. You know, again, with no tornado, you get the golem on the tower, and then you get the balloon on the tower, and now the Valkyrie finishing things up. And here we go with the finish, with the end of this game, and Complexity tying things up, sending us to a third and final game in the 2v2 set.
I mean, 201 is the magic number when it comes to throwing down that final fireball. Wearing them down is Complexity. Basically dead even in terms of building, spells, and troops. Just slightly better played from Complexity. Fairly similar decks, but overall it just came down to execution.
Well, this time sneaking that balloon with the rage through, a thing they weren't really able to get done in the first game. You know, it's interesting, kind of playing the same strategy, thinking that NRG is going to make some sort of shift to try to play the mind games. But again, it comes back to that. And here we are, game number 3 on its way.
Complexity looking to keep their overall streak alive, taking the 2v2 set here. And NRG looking to put a dent in that record.
And a log cycles through for Complexity. Colton and Razor trying to protect that undefeated set record for 2v2. They have finally dropped a game.
After 3 whole games, I should say, 3 whole matches.
Yes.
6-0, finally losing a game here to NRG. No matter what, no matter how this set ends, you've got to walk away from that feeling good, as both these teams are starting off, you know, fairly, I was going to say fairly passively, but hello, once again, Royal Hogs.
I like that split here, sending the 3 on the right-hand side and just the 1 on the left-hand side. You know, again, you already had the giant skeleton coming down the left lane, and here we see, again, the raged balloon, and it's getting all the way to the tower. It's going to do a lot of damage.
Oh my, 1 connection. We're probably going to see another. Yes, there it is. This is the tower, absolutely gone. What a beautiful push there from Complexity, threading the needle with that balloon. The rage, beautifully timed. The synergy and communication from them is impeccable.
But look at the left-hand side for Complexity, now down to 13-14. They committed so much to that push. They did put that tower in danger, but as we reach the midway point of regulation time, Complexity currently holding on to a very nice lead.
Oh yeah, they're more than happy to take the trade. Yes, they're going to take 1,000 damage on the left-hand tower, but they completely decimated the right-hand Princess Tower for NRG. They will take that trade any day of the week. Now, of course, the P.E.K.K.A. is here in response, a standard response that we see to this golem beatdown, but I love this variation, adding in that hyper-aggressive Royal Hogs push on the flank.
And reminder again that Tornado and Lava Hound are both banned, going to make it very hard for Complexity to deal with those Royal Hog pushes. This is looking like a running back of the first game from this set.
It is, but we do see a very different opening this time around for Complexity, whereas before they were totally on the back step. This time they are in a much better position. But oh, we are actually seeing the connection with the cannon cart. The fireball not quite there in time to take that down at 203 damage a pop. That is not something you want to have find your tower.
Interesting change there, that instead of splitting Royal Hogs a bunch like they did in the first game, in this third game opting to go single lane with Royal Hogs, and the way they pushed the cannon cart in, getting it within range before the fireball could hit. Again, again, paid dividends.
Paying dividends here. They are now in a solid position, wearing down this left-hand tower. The Hogs are going to connect again, but I love this. Not stopping the aggression is Complexity. They know they need to keep the pressure up on this left-hand lane because there's a very good chance they are going to lose this right-hand tower. With the poison, they almost certainly will.
And now they are making a nice little push on the left-hand tower, getting it down to 590. You know what, you look at this thing, then again, Hazard has the card matchup. Oh, but that's going to get down. Will the Royal Hogs have enough time? They will not. That is it. Complexity doing it one more time. Hazard and Carter just did not have enough for Colton and Razor, and while they do give up one game finally, those sneaky cannon carts for the win, and there we go. They still maintain their undefeated record in 2v2 sets.
I mean, beautiful play from NRG. You cannot take away from them. It was a fantastic set. They looked solid. That was the best 2v2 play we have seen yet from them. Going up against Complexity is a tall order. You still have to give all the props to NRG. That was so close. What a fan! I mean, that was such a creative deck for them as well. We're going to see it here. The ability for them to not only dispel the pushes, but get it through, but the balloon.
And not just the balloon getting through, the fireball being a little bit late. You know, I'm wondering if that was a misplacement of the fireball specifically, or if that they didn't expect to see the rage there and how fast the balloon would get past them. And there we go again, the sneaky cannon cart in the pocket, taking down the left-hand tower of NRG. Complexity continuing on the warpath, now just 1v1 set away from going 4-0.
All eyes on the tunnel, because it's time for the 1v1 showdown. Will Quanak deliver for NRG, or will Adrian Piedra's resurgence continue? It's time to find out.
Set number 2 on its way, 1v1. Adrian Piedra, the hero of Complexity's last match, picking up where Razor left off, and across from him for NRG, the 18-year-old Italian, Guanek.
Guanek having a lot of success here so far, but he's going up against Adrian Piedra, who had struggled a little bit, but rallied in their last King of the Hill. We are seeing Inferno Dragon and Golem banned here. So interesting here. I almost feel like this is a counter ban. We see this all the time.
Yeah, you wonder if Adrian Piedra banned Inferno Dragon looking to play Golem. Of course, now with that off the board, it does open opportunities for Lava Hound. Specifically, maybe we see some Lava Loon being played. Of course, now we might also see some fast decks as well. So a lot of options opened up now from these card bans, from these two fantastic players. Adrian Piedra, of course, the CCGS World Finalist, and across from him, the 3-time #1 ladder player, Guanek.
This is going to be an epic matchup. I mean, Adrian Piedra, he's yet to actually take a win here in a 1v1 set, but he did clutch it out for Complexity, winning those last 2 games of King of the Hill. Can he make it happen here going up against NRG? Can he break the streak here in the 1v1s?
And here we go, 1v1 set number 2. As a reminder, Complexity now with the lead, taking the 2v2 set. And one more time, our bans are Inferno Dragon and Golem. They will make no appearances in any of these possibly 3 games.
Just bats and skeletons to start things off. Cycling few through a couple cards, but the second the Valkyrie comes down, Royal Hogs on the other side to clean this up, but forced to commit the log and the fireball. Trading positive on that there is going to be Adrian Piedra. So nice little opener for him.
Seeing the Valk on the right-hand side, making a good move, going to the left-hand side, knowing that he would force a response, and that he does. Adrian Piedra with a small elixir lead here in the opening moments.
Let's see how he opts to use it here. Not overcommitting with this Valkyrie like this. A mistake a lot of newer players make. Like, oh, well, I have some troops on the board. I should back them up. But no, just instead opting to play it back. However, the Hunter all the way far in the back might be a little bit of disservice here because he is going to get a little bit of chip damage on that tower from those Hogs.
So far, very similar decks from both players. Not a lot separating them. The Hunter, a somewhat unheralded card for some of the newer players in Clash Royale, but again, it can clean up some bigger spawn. Clean up some of those big
hordes.
Hordes. There you
go.
go. Man, sometimes the word just gets stuck in the back of your throat.
It's one of those days sometimes around. So much amazing Clash Royale action gets you tongue-tied. But I love this here. Yes, the Hunter is really good at getting
it's
up those.
It's a versatile card.
It is a versatile card because you use it really well in defense. It's good against beatdown. You can use it to shred those tanks, but also good against Royal Hogs. So this is fun. We're looking at what appears to be so far a mirror matchup, something that doesn't happen too often here in CRL.
And that's a difference here. The 3 Musketeers in the back for Guanek, and I think that changes things significantly. You know, a 3M as well. The big difference here so far, bats versus skeletons.
Bats versus skeletons seems to be the one key, little difference here for both of these sides. We are going to have the 3 musketeers here as well, the Royal Hog push. This is a solid defense from Adrian Pietro. Let's see what he can make happen with it.
The split hogs, very smart move here. Again, trying to split the defense of Guanic. And still, we got 1 hit from the musketeer on the right-hand side, but split hogs in reverse.
But having all of the answers right now is Adrian Pietro with the Valkyrie and the Hunter. Not going to take as much damage as he potentially could see here. And these near-mirror matchups, it's all about finding those weaknesses, those gaps in your opponents, realizing, and of course, you've played this deck. You know what it's weak against. You know, hopefully, where to exploit it. It comes down to how much they practice this and where they can find those openings in their opponent's strategy.
And now a slight elixir lead for Guanic. He's going to try to punish with that, getting the Royal Hogs again down on the board. And here he goes, potentially taking the lead as we go into, not quite, but very close, evening things up as we go into sudden death overtime.
That was beautiful positioning on that Valkyrie on the left-hand side for Adrian Pietro. Not only did it tank the bats for the tower, it also got those hits onto the Royal Hogs. Obviously, still, a little bit of damage is going to sneak through, but still, that could have been so much worse for him. That left tower could have been in crucial danger here, and we are seeing a lot of damage going through, but that's the downside of having to play those 3 musketeers defensively like that. It is open season for fireballs.
The 3 musketeers hit down very hard, and now it's Adrian Pietro's chance to punish his opponent.
It is the opening here, but again, having those responses is in hand. The Hunter, the Valkyrie, that is what you need to do every single time. We're just going to see the back and forth here, but putting that in the middle, oh man, that Ice Golem might have been a slight misplay. I think maybe he was trying to aggro both the Valkyrie on the left and the Hunter on the right. Not quite able to find it here. Still able to soak up a lot of this damage, and now a solid push coming through from him. These 2 hogs on the left get totally uncontested.
Adrian Pietro now getting on the towers, putting his opponent in real danger. So far, the fireball play, especially in a match like this where you have both 3 musketeers and Royal Hogs on the board, so critical. We've seen Guanic punish a little bit, pushing Adrian's 3 musketeers out of defensive position, but I think that might be the key here in these waning moments. Who utilizes that big spell more effectively?
I absolutely agree. We're going to see here as both these players are trying to mount these last defenses. The log on the left-hand side, but still a lot of tower damage going to try and find its way through with 3 musketeers on both sides, forcing to use these cards super defensively, holding on with only 14 HP, but the fireball!
Wow, that was it. And you saw the Hunter coming in just a half step late. Did not pick up the 3 musketeer. It got a number, 3, maybe 4 shots off, but taking that tower really well down into spell range. And here you go. The Hunter is just a moment too late to pick up that damage. Looked like it might have been 2 shots, and then the log, and that's it. It's in danger. That's going to be GG's for game number 1. NRG's Guanic putting his team in contention to head towards King of the Hill.
1 troop difference in those 2 deck. The composition there just played a little bit better by Guanic. I think having those bats there, that the distraction up in the air as well, as opposed to the skeletons, might have been an impact, but really it just came down to, as you said, how they played those fireballs. Constantly just seems like a little bit further ahead was Guanic, forcing that defensive 3M positioning in the middle. And again, that is where you just throw the fireball every single time. I will take that trade.
Now, a stat we haven't mentioned much as of late, but I think a key one here in this near-mirror matchup, and that's the leaked elixir. You saw Adrian Pietro up near 4 leaked elixir throughout that match. Guanic keeping it very clean, very tight. And when you're playing a mirror match like that, there is no I'm playing a bigger beatdown deck, waiting for you to make a move sort of excuse. In this case, he was more efficient, getting his spells on the board, taking advantage of the elixir advantage, and getting the victory.
I promise you, sometimes, guys, it is a relevant stat. So, as we get into game number 2, how are these players going to change things up? How are they going to make a difference here? And we predicted some Lava Hound play, and hey, that's what we're seeing.
You know, last match we saw Guanic splitting his 3 musketeers effectively. This time, Adrian Pietro putting him in the middle. A bit of a change up here. Now we're seeing Lava Hound. Reminder, Inferno Dragon is off the board. So that's one answer to Lava Hound that you do not have for Adrian Pietro.
And we are going to see the Poison doing quite a lot of work there, cleaning up the Flying Machine. And we do have Lava Loon coming in now for Guanic. Not going to get a whole lot of initial damage onto the tower, but if this balloon can connect, that might be it. Oh man, with the zappies there, that is going to be the connection.
Perfect fireball. The Hunter cleaning it up a little bit, but just not there early enough. The left-hand tower for Adrian Piedra down to 1083.
That is the ideal opening in the lava loon situation. That is exactly what you want to have happen. A little bit of counter chip with the Hunter there as well, but Guanek more than happy to just tank that up and reset for another push.
Well, you know, with Zap out of cycle, it looked like those bats were going to take care of that Lava Hound mixed with the Zappies, but then, or take care of that balloon mixed with the Zappies, but then you get the fireball perfectly timed, and now we're seeing Royal Hogs in the opposite lane for Adrian Piedra, but nicely picked up there by the Tombstone to mitigate at least some of that damage.
Second, you see the Valkyrie go down, the Royal Hogs being played on the other side. That is exactly how you want to do it. An instant response there from Guanek with the Tombstone. It was nicely played, but still, you want that Valkyrie to defend those Hogs. And now knowing that they're going to be on the board here for Adrian Piedra, Guanek, I imagine he's going to keep it back for that.
That does change things for Guanek, you know, using that fireball so effectively to support the balloon push. But now he doesn't have a ton of answers. That and the Valkyrie are his two primary answers to that Royal Hog push. So we'll see how that affects his strategy as we go into double elixir time.
Mega Knight getting cleaned up there on the right by the Valkyrie, and the Flying Machine here once again. We are going to see the Fireball committed onto those Royal Hogs, and still more damage coming through from that Lava Hound.
You know, we're seeing those split Zappies in the back, and here we go, two going to the healthy side of the tower. So if he does choose to fireball those Zappies, it won't give as much value to the fireball. Very smart play here by Adrian Piedra.
And a defensive Mega Knight now being forced out from Adrian Piedra, though, going to look to push in. If he can get the lock there on that left-hand tower, not a whole lot of ground troops here actually so far from Guanek to defend this. We are going to see that going in, but still the Royal Hogs sneaking by on the back and getting damage on both sides there. Poison as well used defensively, but no, not quite able to get the connection there with the Mega Knight onto the tower, but still the Royal Hogs are doing work.
And now Adrian Piedra forced to play his Zappies, all three together on the left-hand side. Big question here, does Guanek have Fireball and Cycle again to support? He does, but just a little bit too late to sneak that balloon through. We are in sudden death overtime, and now Adrian Piedra very close to closing this thing out.
We are almost, the tower on the left-hand side is now in poison range, knowing that is Guanek, and that is likely going to be it, barring something absolutely crazy. Adrian Piedra is going to take game number 2.
Unbelievable performance by Adrian Piedra. Very, very nice work. I think he saw the defensive lapses, the openings in his opponent's deck, not being able to counter a lot of those ground troops. And there he go. You see this wonderful split push, and it's the Mega Knight doing some tanking, allowing those two Hogs to get through on the left. When you support that with the poison, cleaning up everything there, and now it's just, can I spell cycle out and finish this thing off?
Played out beautifully there from Adrian Piedra, not getting ahead of himself, identifying it there. Just really nice play from him.
Guanek has got to feel gutted, though. Look at that left-hand tower down to 193 within that 201 fireball cap. Just couldn't get it in his hand quickly enough. Adrian Piedra, you know, playing very well, but sometimes it's just those little, almost say lucky moments where he didn't, maybe he saw that the fireball was out of cycle, or maybe he just knew that I have to make a play here. Either way, it's Adrian Piedra sending it to a third game here in 1v1.
Let's see what happens in our third and final game, the ace match. Can Adrian Piedra complete the reverse sweep for Complexity?
So much in the balance here on this third game in the 1v1 set. NRG on the brink of going 1-2 in CRL. Complexity's Adrian Piedra looking to send his team still undefeated as they go home.
Guanek, a lot on the line for him in this third and final game here. He needs to take this home for NRG to bring us to King of the Hill. And both of these players opting to play just a little bit more passive to start off game number 3.
Split Zappies for Adrian Piedra. And there we see it's going to be Giant for Guanek.
Giant coming through here. Royal Ghost, though, going to start shredding right on through that with the Zappies as well. But stacked up as they are, a good fireball target. Forced to use the P.E.K.K.A. as well to defend. Not ideal for Adrian.
And now you have Guanek. I think that this Mega Minion's going to do some nice damage. Looks like he's out to a slight elixir lead if he has a good response, a cheap response. There we go to that P.E.K.K.A. And on the other side, look at that Hunter, again, a versatile card, stopping the battle ram in its tracks.
Absolutely huge here. So we are seeing a bridge spam variant coming out now for Adrian here. But we are seeing the Giant. Interesting deck actually coming out right now from Guanek. So we have the Giant as well as the Miner in the back. The guards, though, I love using this troop to stop down that P.E.K.K.A. Having those big, bulky shields, really just slowing down the P.E.K.K.A. on this defensive return.
Giant Miner for Guanek, and the Zappies down again. Although they're getting picked up by the Mega Minion. Those Zappies, if left alone, are so nasty against any tanking card, and that Mega Minion doing a good job of keeping them off its back.
The Giant is going to get a few punches on through here. This is actually big. Guanek just slowly wearing through the defenses of Adrian there. He didn't want to overcommit resources onto that, just using the Royal Ghost to go all the way through. And we are having, once again, the guards to clean this up. I like this choice here from Guanek.
Guanek looking like he might be on a triple spell, Giant Miner control, maybe putting him on poison there for the final card. And now he goes with the Miner again, just getting that chip damage. So far, Guanek having some good answers for that battle ram, and there it is again, the Hunter.
I like this, holding on to what could be a potential poison in the back here. Now that we are in double elixir time, still to see what Adrian has up his sleeve here. Once he knows what those final two cards are from Adrian, or once he at least has a guess here, he'll feel more comfortable using that poison offensively with that Miner. But so far, he has had no need to. But we are actually seeing the Royal Ghost connecting there onto the tower, slipping by, not quite getting in time there were those guards. So a lot of damage being taken on that right-hand tower for Guanek.
It is a triple spell, but the final spell is Zap, resetting the Royal Ghost, kind of saving his tower for some really necessary damage. We are almost into sudden death overtime, and our players here are neck and neck.
Dead even right now going into overtime. The Ram charging down the right-hand side. Going to look to try and get through the fireball there as well to push the enemies out of the way. Will it get through and connect? No, it won't. Barely not finding it there, but the P.E.K.K.A. is still alive on the left-hand side.
P.E.K.K.A. on the left-hand side. Looks like we'll get at least one swing. Will it get a second swing? I think it is, and that is it. Adrian Piedra does it again. The man just had dental surgery a couple days ago. Probably still on pain medication. Who knows? You can see his face as everyone jumps up to, oh my gosh, please.
Don't knock over the podium, boys. Not again.
Don't knock over the podium. Please leave his mouth intact. The man coming through in the clutch. Huge play with, I think it was a wisdom tooth he had removed. And here he comes and shows up in big crunch time. Complexity now, still undefeated, moving to 4-0.
Would it be bad manner to want to interview Adrian Piedra after this?
I mean, I don't know how you do. Maybe we can interview him in pictures. Maybe he can write stuff down and have someone else write it. But that is an unbelievable performance here. And this, look at what we got going on. Just no answer for that P.E.K.K.A. He was forced to play. Guanek's forced to play so much stuff on the right-hand side. No answer for the P.E.K.K.A. The guard's just a little bit too late. And that is it. Take a look, Adrian Piedra getting it done, taking this thing down, and sealing the victory once again for Complexity.
Complexity's doing pretty well now overall in things. Oh, yeah.
Undefeated 4-0. Complexity NRG dropping to 1-2. But for the first time, Complexity not going to King of the Hill. No need for Razor to bring out his King Killer sword. Instead, it is Guanek. Instead it is Adrian Piedra sealing things up in the 1v1 set. But also, the other big story here is the continued success of the 2v2. Colton and Razor making adjustments mid-set, doing what they needed to do, changing the way that they played with that, with sneaking that balloon through. And Colton, really one of the better players who we haven't seen a ton of yet today, showing off his skills. And standing by with Colton is our colleague, Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. Colton, it's like a heart attack every single week. So first of all, I have to say, you did lose your first game in 2v2. Yeah. What happened?
I mean, it came down to communication. 2v2 is all about communication. We messed up a little bit, but we had an opportunity to make like a small push. That's what you need to do in that matchup when you're going against P.E.K.K.A. And we didn't execute, but then we made a couple impromptu changes that were really helpful, and then we did execute in the third game in the rematch. So yeah.
Absolutely, it felt like you were in control that entire time, those last two games. Did you feel that way? Were you ever scared?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't switch decks because we knew we could win with the deck we started with. It was we made a mistake, and then we made sure we didn't make it again in the next two matches. Yeah.
Sounds like what a champion would do. Yeah. Feels good. All right, back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Fantastic work on the part of Complexity. Once again, getting the victory and moving to 4-0 in the North American standings.
4-0 Complexity. What a stellar start to their season, shooting ahead here in North America. I mean, they're the only team to yet to have dropped a series here. So can this streak continue? Who's going to be the one to take them down?
And next up, two teams both looking for their first victory in CRL, Immortals versus 100 Thieves.
Feast your eyes on this. 100 Thieves against Immortals. Both teams are still looking for their first CRL win. Will our crap deliver for Immortals? Or will Eddie put 100 Thieves in the win column? Stick around and find out.
Two teams looking to continue their journey towards the World Finals, and you can follow them every step of the way here at the Clash Royale Esports page by hitting subscribe there on our YouTube channel.
Hit that subscribe button, catch all the action 6 days a week. 100 Thieves, Immortals, neither one of these teams finding victory yet here in the Clash Royale League, but both of them, one of them is going to come out of here with a win, no matter what.
One of these two will finally leave with a victory. 100 Thieves versus Immortals. Interesting pairing here. 100 Thieves made up of some less heralded but not less talented players versus Immortals, one of the more stacked rosters. Kind of surprising that they are still two in their third match, but not yet in the win column.
I mean, Puresun and Frost, we've seen this 2v2 combo coming out, and every single time they've looked better and better. Can they continue? Of course, Eddie, PT105. They have some solid players here on this roster. They just need to quite put it all together.
Pure Frost looking to kick things off in 2v2 most likely. But one of their players who's really shown up here in King of the Hill is PT105, and he is standing by with Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. So, of course, not the way you wanted to start the season. How did you take what you learned from the training room and kind of how have you prepared so you can come home today with a W?
So we really have been focusing on our mistakes so far, and I think the beginning of the season is the best time to make those mistakes because you have the most time to capitalize on them. At the end of the season, you don't really have time to make up for them, so I'd rather get them out of the way now and then move forward.
Absolutely, and I do have to ask you something a little bit more serious. Your shoes are glorious. Can you maybe show a little bit? Yeah, can you?
Right there?
Tell me more.
I can't say much about them except, I mean, just wow. When I saw them, when I laid my eyes on these, I was like, I have to have them. Oh, have to.
They're like a gangster crocodile. I am in awe. You can't lose with a shoe like that.
I can't.
All right, back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. PT105 with the #1 shoes in CRL. Hoping those turn into a #1 record here as well. In the tunnel, no funny business this time. 100 Thieves is here to win.
They are here to put on a show and take home the victory here. But going up against Immortals, Trainer Luis and the crew over at IMT have definitely been putting together a regiment. These guys are prepping. They're ready for this match. Let's listen inside the war rooms and see what these guys are saying.
What happened to 2? All right, guys. I'm feeling pretty good. How are you guys feeling?
Feeling good.
Good? Good, excellent. We've been getting ready for weeks now, and I am so pumped to get this win. I know that you guys have been executing on your preparation, and now it's time to execute on your execution. And I think that we have a great match today, the 1v1 ban. We're totally ready for that. They thought they were going to trap us in something, but it's not going to happen this time. With the 2v2 ban, it's a double ban, so of course we're ready for the poison ban. We're going to knock them down and make these Immortals wish that they weren't, all right? So let's get to it. Good luck today. Remember to breathe, and we're going to take the win.
All right,
let's do it. Got it.
You guys are ready.
Yep.
All of you guys are incredible, and that's all you have to remember. Honestly, it's all about being relaxed. You guys are destroying scrimmages. You guys are mechanically the best players in the world, and there's nothing to fear, really. You guys know that you prepared. We analyzed them, we broke them down. We have a good idea of what they're coming in with, and it's just a matter of capitalizing on our knowledge of them. And they think we play a certain way. They think Royal plays a certain way, and that could either hurt us or help us, and we're going to see how that turns out. How are you guys feeling?
Good.
Confident.
Very confident.
Good. It's going to be our first win today, and hopefully one of 10 other wins, because I hope to go undefeated the rest of the season.
100 Thieves and Immortals have planned for the worst, and now they'll set out to do their best. Teams, send your 2v2 combatants into the arena.
The 2v2 pairs making their way down the tunnel. A little adjustment here again from Immortals, but no surprises on the side of 100 Thieves with Pure Zun and Frost.
Pure Frost returning, the dynamic duo here once again, looking to find success in the 2v2, going up against the OG combo, the God RF and Crap, returning to their original 2v2 pairing back from week number 1.
Crap, of course, one of the best players in Northern California, getting first there. And look at this double ban on Poison. A pretty standard ban here in 2v2, but again, leaving a lot of cards on the board.
So standard, we're seeing it twice. But no Tornado, of course, going to be joining it here now. Tornado, of course, a card that we've seen a lot of banned in 2v2. It opens up a lot more options. It also makes a lot of plays more risky, like the Hog, like the Miner. We see a lot of those in. King Tower activation will certainly be a thing. So watch for that here. These teams will absolutely be running some sick Tornado plays.
You know, both teams are 0-2 coming into this match, but that is a little bit of a sort of a weird phenomenon here, because you have Immortals, a really stacked lineup, as I said before. Royal, one of the best players in the world. Crap, fantastic. And across, if you remember that game against Complexity, who's currently 4-0, you saw them earlier today. Pure Frost nearly took the 2v2 from them in their matchup, so this is a team we definitely need to watch out for.
Both of these teams are so close to, I think, reaching that potential here, working out the kinks in the first few weeks and getting to, I think, where they can be as teams, as players. They are so close to getting into that first real streak of wins here. We might see it start right here today.
And we are underway in 2v2. Which one of these teams will not only get their first win, but start themselves on the path to going 12-2?
12-2. The dream lives for both of these squads, as we are seeing fairly standard openings here. Just throwing down that Golem and that Giant Skeleton in the back. Going to be looking like a big-time beatdown coming out from Immortals.
Immortals going with a pretty standard set for our developing 2v2 meta. And 100 Thieves now also with a Golem, but kind of a high-played Golem here rather than all the way behind the King Tower.
Yeah, we are going to see that coming out now. Going to look to try and disrupt this Golem push from Immortals as much as possible. There's the Tornado as expected, bringing everything back, trying to keep those Golemites off the King Tower. Princess Tower, I should say.
And they are successful, and a Fireball doing a little bit of work there for Immortals, but not really getting a ton of value at that. Maybe a bit of a late play here, and now we are seeing possibly all 3 troops getting at least some damage on. The Frost just a little bit late, the Tornado doing its job.
Bit of a misplay there on that freeze, thinking they had a little bit more time to get in there and they weren't going to lose those troops to that Tornado. Bit of a misplay now coming out from 100 Thieves. We will see if that has a big impact here moving forward in terms of overall Elixir. One of the things I noted interesting there is that we saw the initial push coming in from Immortals, playing back a little bit easier. It was 100 Thieves, waiting to see what Immortals was going to do, and then responding in turn, able to push some of their own damage through because they're able to then pull it back, wait for Immortals to overcome over the bridge, take down those troops and push back through. But one of the reasons why that push wasn't so effective was because of that Giant Skeleton.
It's going to be interesting to find some of the inventive ways of stopping the attack here of 100 Thieves as they are preparing to mount what I think is going to be their first big push on the left-hand side. You at home can see what's in store. How is Immortals going to handle what's coming down the pipe?
Well, one of the ways was going to be that tombstone, but very smartly taking it down was 100 Thieves, getting the Golem back on track. But the cannon cart on the left-hand side, shredding it down. Good play, though, with the log as well to take down that Dark Goblin. Dark Goblin is just the perfect log target.
And one shot from the Baby Dragon. Now 100 Thieves, as we are halfway through double Elixir time, out to a nice lead.
To a nice lead here. Not a single point of damage taken on any tower is 100 Thieves, or 100 Thieves, I should say. Oh, look, Immortals decided they want to put a point of damage on the board there, connecting with that Fireball. But once again, the Giant Skeleton leading the way for the charge of Immortals.
But it's going to do a good job cleaning that stuff up, mixing there with not only the Tornado, but the Golem stopping all those troops in its track. The Giant Skeleton's Death Bomb doing a lot of damage to a lot of troops.
That was a beautiful play there, comboing off the Giant Skeleton Bomb with that Tornado. Again, Tornado, there's a reason why we see it so often in 2v2, because you are able to make huge plays like that, comboing in situations where you normally wouldn't have the Elixir.
You at home can see the win condition there on the bottom left part of your screen for 100 Thieves. Hasn't made its appearance yet. The Golem not quite doing all that it wants. We're wondering, as we are now in sudden death overtime, how will that be played? How will it affect the defense of Immortals?
Really, it's going to come down to the big push and knowing that they're able to actually going to support that win condition there as well. We are seeing a slightly off-kilter push coming out right now from Immortals, not lining up all of their troops ideally here, pulling back that Inferno Dragon, but the leash still stays. Nicely done there as well. It is going to continue to shred down that Golem, and now we see the Graveyard.
And now we get the Graveyard Freeze, a comment we've seen so much before, the Golem Graveyard Freeze here in 2v2. But so far, a good job of picking it up, the Baby Dragon and the Dark Goblin, stopping most of those skeletons from getting on the tower.
Both of those troops are quite solid at cleaning up that graveyard there. The combo was huge with the freeze as well. The rocket coming in with that tornado. Beautiful play there from Immortals, trying to keep the Golem going.
It nearly makes the tower, but it's just going to be the Golemites getting a little bit of death damage. Maybe one hit from one of them here. No, it looked like it stopped all the way. The Double Wiz doing their defensive work.
Yeah, Immortals, I have to say, though, doing a fantastic job of utilizing that tornado to work in synergy with everything else that they are putting together right now. But 100 Thieves is saying, look, we can do it too. There is the NATO Fireball combo, but still getting some damage on the tower, slowly chipping away with that Golem.
We just have 1 minute left in sudden death overtime so far. Neither team breaking all the way through to finish this thing off. Remember, if neither one of them can finish this off, this doesn't go to tiebreaker rules yet. We will address that if it becomes important.
But we're just going to have a draw here, and we'll continue on. So both of these teams, though, they're trying to find the opening. The game is not over yet. 50 seconds left on the clock. The GY in the back. Will the freeze come through as well? It does, connecting onto the King Tower there as well, trying to push the damage through. But still, with fireballs raining down from the sky, it's still just out of range.
That's probably going to be it here. 100 Thieves looking like they are about to close this thing out. We noticed also the Dark Goblin got caught in that freeze spell in the back. That's what helped open up all that damage. Down to 475. Just a little bit of work left here for 100 Thieves to do. If they can hold this defense, stop this big old push, they could take it. But oh no, that Golem making a beeline for the tower.
The freeze is coming in here. 5 seconds going to slow this down with only 10 seconds left in the clock here. Just a second. Can they make it through? Can the damage get there? 10 seconds left and no, that is going to be it. Immortals finding the opening there in the final seconds of overtime.
Unbelievable. Pure Frost just a couple of spells away. 3 fireballs could have got it done, but they just didn't have enough to hold the defense there. You know, they committed a ton of elixir to that push, and here we again see some of that wonderful tornado play coming from Immortals, making room for the Golem. But here, and again, same thing here. They did that over and over again, the tornado, big spell combination, getting their Golem through. But again, at that moment, 100 Thieves just didn't have enough in the tank to stop that final push. So close, yet so far.
They really, I don't want to say they overcommitted on that final push in the left Princess Tower, but trying to burn through, get all the fireballs, hitting that on the tower, get them back in hand. They left themselves open. They left themselves exposed. Immortals realized this, said, look, it's not over until it is over, with less than 10 seconds remaining, clutching it out there in overtime, taking game number 1. That's how you want to start things off if you're Immortals.
Immortals now 1 game away from closing out the 2v2 set. One more step to getting that first notch in the win column, but can Pure Frost of 100 Thieves hold strong here and even it up and send us to a 3rd and final game?
Game number 2, 100 Thieves versus Immortals. 100 Thieves needs to rally here to bring us to that ace match. And one thing I have to say, Rich, that's impressed me off the bat already in this series is the fact that Allcrap hasn't BM'd once yet. Something is horribly wrong. Something is going on. I don't know.
And no BM and winning the first game. I don't know how he pulls that off.
See, that was BM. As both these teams are mounting their pushes here, Night Witch Golem coming in, trading out some bats, perfectly timed. Seeing some slight variations here. We're seeing Dark Goblin getting rolled on through. Baby Dragon in the back. Baby Dragon, a card I actually love seeing here in 2v2. That big splash damage up in the sky, fairly tanky troop. It's going to get a lot of value trading out, especially over these long, drawn-out bridge fights.
And the Golemites getting to the left-hand tower of Immortals early on. A slight lead opening up with the first minute down of regulation time.
The cannon cart trying to find its way through to the tower, but the freeze and the graveyard in the back are slowly going to be chipping away. The cannon cart does find the lock onto the tower, and that is probably going to be it. Can they get it down in time? They do, but taking so much damage in the process.
And a counter push developing for 100 Thieves, and again going with the graveyard, but the Valkyrie there to clean things up. Another freeze spell. Looks like they know what they want to do here.
They are also going to execute the combo, doing plenty of damage on their own. Pretty much going to end up dead even back and forth. So beautiful openings from both sides, playing relatively similar decks. We saw a little bit of overcommitment on Elixir there from that initial push from 100 Thieves, and it cost them slightly. That big freeze in the back in a competitive standpoint like this, we don't often see it in 1v1, but it's found a place in 2v2.
That sneaky Dark Goblin forcing the E-Wiz out and high. A nice little bit of gamesmanship here from Immortals.
Nice little bit of gamesmanship as the Giant Skeleton now looking to push down once again, leading the charge for the Night Witch. As we do, or lead the charge for the Golem, I should say, into the Night Witch, but double Baby Dragon in the back. Gonna look to start to shut this down.
A big push here from Immortals. The Tornado Fireball combination handling a lot of that, and a nice pull to the right-hand side with the Tombstone. But now it's time for Immortals to do their own Graveyard Freeze combination, getting that left-hand tower way down. It is in danger. The Fireball picks things up, and with the death damage almost falling is the left Princess Tower of 100 Thieves.
136 HP remaining under that crucial 201 for the Fireball to come on through. So we are going to likely see that tower fall. So now Immortals has to play the game. How much do we defend? How much do we pressure the other side? Do we give this up? Do we solely focus on the other side here? There's a lot of decisions they need to be making right now. The shot calling needs to be absolutely perfect. They are going to continue to commit to this defense as they get into overtime here. And, well, they just need one more spell to cycle this out.
Really smart play, though, there from 100 Thieves. It won't be enough because the Fireball was in cycle, got it down for Immortals. But you saw 100 Thieves doing a smart thing there. They were making sure that their opponents had to play defensive troops on the tower, so the Fireball could help keep them in the match, but it simply wasn't enough, and this was the response to the early overcommittal from 100 Thieves. They did sure they got about 600 damage on that tower, but in response, they gave up so much and just couldn't get it back.
I love that decision from Immortals. Some teams might have said, you know what, let's just give this up. Let's reset, let's focus. But no, they're like, we can hold this. There's only a few seconds left. We have it. And they made it work there. Beautiful play from them, knowing they had exactly enough in terms of resources to defend that left-hand tower. And Immortals taking the set 2-0, celebrating, having a good time. You can feel the energy in the room right now as the God RF and crap coming off of that win. All smiles for Immortals.
And now the 2v2 set down in the win column for Immortals. 100 Thieves needs to win in the upcoming 1v1 to send this thing to King of the Hill.
Eddie going to be the representative here, going up against Royal here in this matchup. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Eddie has done some amazing things here for 100 Thieves. This guy's put out some amazing matches here. First place at the Combine, coming into the CRL, but going up against Royal. Multiple top 10 times on the ladder, 5 top 5 CCGS EU Spring. This guy is a beast.
Yeah, definitely a high-level matchup between two very talented, although on Eddie's side, somewhat unheralded 1v1 players. Of course, we've mentioned this multiple times, but Woody from 100 Thieves, he believes that Eddie is one of the best players in Clash Royale and hopes that this is really the stage he gets to show off just how good he is.
The 1v1 showdown is here. Time for 2 top tower droppers to tango. I made that sound good. Royal and Eddie, let the battle begin.
Eddie, the self-slated dark horse for 100 Thieves, going up against Royal. The 19-year-old Romanian coming in here looking to put his stamp on the 1v1. But Eddie from the good old US of A right here in California, he's looking to make some plays of his own.
Eddie really talented, and I loved what he did against B-Rad in his last match, making an adjustment. He lost with an X-Bow deck because he didn't have the proper defense for it. He brought in the final game, made the adjustment, got, I believe it was an Inferno Tower in to cover for that X-Bow, and as an X-Bow player myself, a great way to close it out. But here against a very dangerous Royal, and our ban cards here, Tornado and Lava Hound.
Tornado and Lava Hound coming out, so we'll see how the aerial battle is going to take place there if we were going to see the balloon, but probably not in this match. You're probably going to keep it a little bit closer to the ground. But you mentioned that, such an interesting matchup there. Eddie brought out an X-Bow deck, game number 2, had the counters, like, oh, man, this isn't going to work, but then brought it out again in the one matchup that was actually going to be favorable for him. Absolutely crazy. Game number 3, clutching it out with the X-Bow. It's that kind of heads-up play that I expect to see here in our 1v1.
And we are off in set number 2 of this matchup between Immortals and 100 Thieves. Royal at the top of your screen, Eddie at the bottom.
100 Thieves needs to take this 1v1 matchup if they want to bring it on to King of the Hill and keep their dreams alive. They don't want to go 0-3 to start this season, and right now, Immortals is in full control.
Eddie looking to get that Royal Ghost across, stopped in its tracks by the Valkyrie. The Inferno Dragon getting target. Valkyrie did its job but won't do much more.
Inferno Dragon is just going to sit here and slowly start chunking through the troops here. We are actually going to see the balloon coming out right now from Eddie on the left-hand side as well. The E-Wiz is there to try and stop it getting to the tower. This is going to be very close, but no, it's not going to connect.
It will get the death damage. You got to wonder, maybe does Eddie have a miner in there running miner balloon to cover that thing up? He does have a zap for retarget, so that could play nicely as this match continues.
Having that for retargeting, of course, so crucial in that matchup there. But we're not really seeing a true win condition coming out yet from Royal.
He does put the cannon cart in the back. What will he build in front of it?
Not looking to bring anything out yet so far. Just running across, just cycling through, and there it is. The Graveyard is in the back as well. But the Skarmy actually coming in from Eddie to clean that up with the Poison there as well to continue with this push. So Graveyard Poison going to be the play for Royal.
Royal really doing a nice job on that left-hand tower. Kind of getting Eddie to make a lot of commitments, that, especially with that Skarmy. An interesting play with the Skarmy here. I'm wondering what Eddie's plan is, how he hopes to get that balloon through with no real great tanking card. Maybe he's hoping to put it behind the Royal Ghost once it gets corporeal. You can see here using the Inferno Dragon as its tank. But I think that's going to be a very tough thing for him to do, to get that thing to actually drop a real bomb on the tower.
Yeah, there's a great fireball play coming in there as well to shut down the E-Wiz. So close. Again, we are talking inches. Well, in-game inches anyway, trying to get that connection there with the bomb onto the tower. But we are now seeing a solid positioning here for Royal. He's just going to mount himself a little bit of a push, keep some distraction here, try and get the Graveyard down. He knows he's in a good position on that front. But I like the fact that Eddie is not letting him do that. He's keeping up the pressure here, but the E-Wiz staying alive through all of this and dropping down that big balloon.
This is going to be a really tough matchup for Eddie. You know, I don't think he has a lot of great answers for that Graveyard Poison combo. The Skarmy definitely not going to do it. I think the Skarmy is going to be one of the cards he might regret having in the deck this time around. And then look, you have the Royal Ghost, but it's very slow against against a card like Graveyard, and that's going to be it. We are 10 seconds away. This first game is in the books. Royal closing it out, getting the first game down, and putting Immortals just one step away, one win away from getting their first victory in CRL.
Bit of an unconventional pick there for Eddie in that matchup there with that Skeleton Army, having it down there. Every single time the Poison, was just dropped. I'm not even sure, actually, the second time why he even played it, because it's literally just a pure waste of 3 Elixir. Every single time, the Poison's going to fall up with that Graveyard. I think that was almost strictly a misplay coming in here from him, which is a little bit uncharacteristic. But you know what? It's only game number 1. There is still a chance that he can rally here, come back in the second game. Royal with a favorable matchup in that situation, executing it perfectly, never overcommitting, allocating exactly the right amount of resources to shut down the balloon, and knowing that he had the combo, GY Poison, and no answer from Eddie.
With Tornado and Lava Hound banned, maybe Eddie was putting his opponent on Golem and looking to go, hey, you know what? I will have the Inferno Dragon as a counter, but a Skarmy does. Here's the thing, the Skarmy does have the most DPS in the entire game. And so if you do get that Inferno Dragon countered, a second Golem counter might have been his thought process. But again, he didn't have a great way to get that balloon through, and that ended up being the match. Of course, again, playing the Skarmy in response to that graveyard didn't work out well, but he has a chance to get it back. Game number 2 of 1v1 on its way.
Can Royal and Immortals take it in 4 quick games, or will 100 Thieves rally here? That's a lot of Immortals logos on the left-hand side of your screen.
Royal has to be feeling good so far after losing against Guanic in a 1v1 match where he got a little too impatient, over-committed to a push with his Golem. And same thing with his difficult 2v2 matchup against Tribe in their last match. Right now, really in the groove, he is playing fantastic.
That was a lot of committal on Elixir for Eddie there to defend that with the Zap, Poison, and Miner, committing, wow, almost its entire Elixir bar to that defense right now. So a solid Elixir lead for Immortals for Royal going into this. They both realize that that's exactly what's going on. Having a little conversation here. You gotta love to see it.
Yeah, Miner on defense tells you a lot about what Eddie has. Definitely not a lot of options there for him. So now running Miner, Poison, Hog, it's going to be challenging for him, again, with few defensive options. What can he do here against the play of Royal?
I mean, when you play out your Miner defensively, it tends to mean you have a lot of, those cheaper defensive cycle here, but still, we are going to see the P.E.K.K.A. reach the tower. That's 1 swing. That's 2 swings, and 3 going through. This is not a good position for Eddie to be in because that's
swing,
the tower.
All the way down. That P.E.K.K.A. is so huge, it's a perfect counter for the Hog, which is probably Eddie's main win condition. And then, of course, it gets through all the way to the other side. This is a very difficult spot for the 100 Thieves representative.
This is a very aggressive deck from Eddie. You've got Miner, Poison, you've got the Hog there as well. Of course, Poison, a versatile card, can be used defensively, but it just feels like Royal has all the answers with this P.E.K.K.A. Ewiz, bridge spam deck with the Bandit there as well. This is a deck we've been seeing a lot so far in competitive play. It has a lot of great options. You use the P.E.K.K.A. defensively and then counter push on the other side, whether it be with the Ram, whether it be with the Bandit. You are constantly keeping up the pressure on your opponent, and that's exactly what Royal's going to look to do here in this matchup.
Royal in control as we head into double Elixir time. Eddie trying to find a way to work on that right-hand tower. The hard part here now is that with so little time left, you got to think Royal knows he's focused there. He's not going to be too worried, I don't think, about these lane switches because he has an answer every single time. And with just 30 seconds left, Royal in a very commanding position.
Royal is in a great spot right now. Trying to chip away will be Eddie through all of this, but every single time, the good games are already being called. They know this one is over. Eddie would need a miracle to come back in this game right now, and he's going to try and hold on here, try and find a way, but with 15 seconds left, Rich, I think that's going to be it.
GG's all around, 100 Thieves putting up another stalwart performance, but finally, it's Immortal getting it together, playing to the level they knew they could play. Of course, you're having that 2v2 work from Awcrap and the God RF closing it out early, but now it's Royal finally getting in the win column himself and being the hero today for Immortals.
I also have to say, though, the entire team behind him as well, those decks were perfectly selected.
And here we go. It's that first big P.E.K.K.A. sliding all the way through. The E was distracting the Valkyrie, and it gets a lot of swings here on that tower, more than you really would have hoped. The tower goes down, and there was nothing for Eddie to do on the back end from that point. Going kind of slightly off meta in both of his decks, making some interesting choices of cards, and that kind of seemed to come back and bite him. And against a player like Royal, and you really can't do that. Again, top 5 at CCGS, a really talented player, and the hero today. He will be standing by in just a couple of moments with Christy St. John, but there just isn't enough. The big thing today that I really liked was it seemed like he dealt with the stress a little bit more.
Oh, he seemed totally calm this time around. Again, there was never a moment there where he didn't feel in control. He didn't get impatient, and that was so crucial there in that one matchup. He never let himself get flustered, and it really showed here in this matchup, taking the win over 100 Thieves. Let's listen in now with Royal over there. Christy St. John is standing by.
Thanks, guys. Royal, you not only took home the W, you did it with a sweep. How does it feel?
It feels great. Honestly, the work finally pays off.
Absolutely, and you did some great work. So you had some amazing deck matchups there. Tell me how you really put the pressure on your opponent.
Honestly, I was just waiting to see exactly what he's running, and then after figuring out, I was just going all in and then defend the whole game because that's pretty much all I had to do.
Short, sweet, hard to beat, so simple, good game, man. Back to you.
Thanks, Christy, again. Such a great performance. Got to feel good for Royal to get in the win column. Good for Immortals all the way to get in the win column. You know, we expected a lot from this team. The first 2 stumbles, very rough for those guys, but they knew what they could do, and here they are now, taking 1 step up our ladder.
100 Thieves, 0-3 to start off the season, but again, it's still early days. There is still time to improve, to take lessons from this, to learn and get better. So we'll see how they adjust here. 100 Thieves falling, but Immortals putting that crucial win on the board from them. And I think it really just came down to 100 Thieves, I think, mind game themselves a little bit there. Again, having that double golem counter with the Skarmy, with the Inferno Dragon, predicting for something that didn't come. And I think in this situation, you have to stay versatile. You know, keep your options open because at this level of play, all these players are going to have some responses.
And you can hit that subscribe button to follow all the action here at Clash Royale League. Of course, we have not only action coming to you from the North American region, but also the fantastic European region as well. Major organizations with big-time players in both of these competitions, and you don't want to miss a single second of the action.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Tune in 6 days a week. We are here. We are back tomorrow, I'm sure, coming back in with more amazing action. So hit that subscribe button. I'm in Verum. That's Rich Slayton. We'll see you next time.
Once again, the battles have unfolded before our eyes with wonder and splendor. We have watched Mina and Poison collaborate in destruction. We have seen Zappies help Gollum reach the tower. We have only just begun on the road to the World Finals, so you must subscribe to the Clash Royale Esports channel to see all the action. That's what it is. Lots of action. The Clash Royale League. And remember, if life throws you a fireball, don't be surprised if a lava hound fetches it and brings it back to you. You know, karma.